Welcome back to our channel History Coins HD. As you that old is gold, but these rare Lincoln wheat penny coin that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1, where we uncover the secrets behind the world's most valuable coins. If you're a coin collector, history buff, or just someone who's curious about the hidden treasures that might be sitting in your pocket change, then you're in for a real treat today, because in this video, we're going to dive deep into the incredible story of one of the most sought-after coins in American numismatic history, the 1944 Lincoln wheat penny. And let me tell you, this isn't just any old penny. This one has a story, a mystery, and a value that could absolutely blow your mind. So, grab your magnifying glass and dig out your coin jars, because by the end of this video, you might just be inspired to go treasure hunting in your own collection. Let's start with a little background. The Lincoln wheat penny has been a staple of American currency since it was first introduced in 1909, to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person, and its iconic wheat ears on the reverse side have made it a collector's favorite for decades. But among all the wheat pennies minted over the years, there's something particularly intriguing about the 1944 issue. You see, 1944 was an unusual year in U.S. minting history. During World War II, copper was a critical material needed for the war effort. That's why, in 1943, the U.S. Mint produced pennies using zinc-coated steel instead of the usual copper. These steel cents are fairly well known and collectible today. However, in 1944, the Mint returned to making pennies from copper. But here's where things get interesting. A small number of coins were struck using leftover steel planchets from 1943 by mistake. That's right, some of these 1944 pennies, including a few minted at the Denver Mint, hence the D Mint mark, were accidentally made out of steel instead of copper. And that tiny minting error? It turned an ordinary coin into one of the rarest and most valuable pieces in the world of American currency. Now you might be wondering, how can you tell if you've got a 1944 D steel penny? Well, it's actually easier than you'd think. First, check the date, 1944. Then look for the tiny D under the date, indicating it was minted in Denver. And here's the real test: grab a magnet. If your 1944 D penny sticks to the magnet, congratulations, you might just be holding something extremely rare. Because regular copper pennies aren't magnetic, but steel ones are. Only a handful of genuine 1944 D steel cents have ever been discovered. Some were pulled from circulation decades ago and have made their way into elite coin collections. Others may still be hiding in old coffee cans, coin jars, or tucked away in attics and basements, completely forgotten. Just imagine, something so small and ordinary could be worth a life-changing amount of money, and it's not just the steel version that's valuable. Even the standard 1944 D wheat penny made from copper can fetch a decent price in high grades. But nothing compares to the steel variant. It's the unicorn of Lincoln pennies, exceptionally rare, and highly desired by collectors around the world. This coin's appeal isn't just about rarity. It's about the perfect storm of history, error, and mystery. A coin that was never supposed to exist, but somehow slipped through. And today, it stands as a symbol of how even the tiniest mistake at the mint can turn into something extraordinary. So if you're someone who collects coins or you've inherited an old collection from a grandparent, this is the time to take a closer look. Especially if you find a 1944 penny that looks a bit different from the rest. Who knows? That little coin could change your life. Now for the moment you've all been waiting for. What is the actual value of this rare 1944 D Lincoln steel wheat penny? Are you ready? Because a verified, high-grade example of this rare coin has sold at auction for an astonishing $105,000. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny, once worth just 1 cent, is now worth $105,000. So go check your change. Dig through those coin jars. You might just be sitting on a piece of American history worth more than a luxury car. Or a down payment on a house. Thanks for watching, and if you love videos about rare coins, hidden treasures, and fascinating historical finds, make sure to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a discovery. Keep collecting, keep exploring, and who knows? Top 2, you're about to discover just how exciting the world of rare coins can be. And if you've been with us for a while, you already know that even the smallest, most ordinary looking coin can hide a secret fortune. We're turning our attention to a penny. Not just any penny, though. We're talking about the mysterious, often overlooked, and surprisingly valuable 1949 Lincoln Wheat penny. A coin that might just be sitting in your change jar, waiting to be discovered, and now, you might think to yourself, 1949? That's not even that old. And you'd be right. Compared to coins from the 1800s or early 1900s, 1949 might not seem ancient. But in the world of coin collecting, age is only one piece of the puzzle. What really makes a coin valuable is a unique mix of rarity, condition, and error, and the 1949 Lincoln Wheat penny checks more than one of those boxes. Let's take a step back and look at what makes the Lincoln Wheat penny such an iconic piece of American currency. First minted in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure. On the front, or obverse, you have Lincoln's profile. On the reverse, you see two stylized stalks of wheat, symbolizing prosperity and growth, a nod to the nation's strength through hardship. By 1949, the wheat penny had already become a staple of American life. This was a time when the country was adjusting to life after World War II. Soldiers were returning home, families were growing, and the economy was on the rise. The mint continued producing these coins in large numbers, but as we'll soon find out, not all of them came out exactly the same. Most 1949 Lincoln pennies are made of a copper alloy, a blend of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. They were minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. While millions were struck, only a few have stood the test of time in exceptional condition. And even fewer have been discovered with unique traits that make collectors go wild. That's right, some 1949 wheat pennies have tiny flaws, minting errors, or die varieties that set them apart. These can include double dies, repunched mint marks, off-center strikes, or planchet issues. To the untrained eye, they might look like regular pennies. But to a collector? Their treasure. One particular version of the 1949 penny has become legendary among coin experts. It's not just because it's rare, but because it combines multiple collector favorites: scarcity, pristine condition, and a fascinating backstory. There's a known error involving a 1949 D penny where the mint mark was repunched, creating what's called a D over D variety. This means the mint mark was accidentally punched twice in slightly different positions, creating a subtle but distinct shadow effect. Coins with this kind of error are highly sought after, and when they're found in brilliant uncirculated condition, meaning no scratches, no wear, just like they came off the mint press yesterday, their value shoots up astronomically. Imagine finding a tiny imperfection that turns a simple penny into a collector's dream. Let's not forget about the role condition plays in the value of any coin. A 1949 Lincoln Wheat penny that's been through decades of pockets, piggy banks, and vending machines is probably worth only a few cents to a few dollars. But one that's been carefully preserved, untouched by time, with crisp details and a lustrous surface, that's a different story entirely. Coins graded as MS65 or higher by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC command serious attention at auctions. So here's the million-dollar question, or in this case, the almost $100,000 question: how much could one of these rare 1949 Lincoln Wheat pennies actually be worth? If you've stuck with us this far, get ready. Because one verified example of this rare 1949 Lincoln Wheat penny, in exceptional condition and featuring one of those coveted minting errors, has sold at auction for an incredible $98,000. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny, worth just 1 cent when it was made, is now valued at $98,000. Think about that for a second. That's enough to buy a brand new luxury vehicle, or pay off student loans, or put a huge down payment on a house. And it could be sitting right there in your collection, waiting to be discovered. So what are you waiting for? Check your coin rolls, dig through those old jars, search your drawers. The next great find might be closer than you think. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about hidden coin treasures, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and turn on the notification bell. We've got plenty more fascinating finds coming your way, and you won't want to miss a single one. Top 3, where we uncover the stories behind some of the most surprising and valuable coins in American history. Now, if you've been collecting coins for a while, or even just casually holding on to interesting pieces, you probably already know that not all pennies are created equal. Some are just ordinary pocket change, while others could be worth more than a brand new car. We're diving into a coin that many people overlook. It's not from the 1800s, and it's not silver or gold, but it's got a hidden value that could leave you speechless. We're talking about the 1953 Lincoln Wheat Penny. That's right, a simple, copper penny from the early 1950s that could be worth a small fortune if you happen to have the right one. So why 1953? What makes this particular year so special? Let's start by stepping back into the time period. The year was 1953. The Korean War had just come to an end, Dwight D. Eisenhower had just taken office as president, and America was entering a time of post-war prosperity. During this era, the U.S. Mint was churning out coins by the millions, including the familiar Lincoln Wheat Penny, which had been in circulation since 1909. By this time, the wheat penny had become a beloved part of American coinage. On the front, you've got Abraham Lincoln's proud profile. On the back, two stalks of wheat curve gracefully up the edges, a design that would eventually be replaced in 1959 with the Lincoln Memorial. But in 1953, the wheat design was still going strong. That year, pennies were minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S. While these coins were common for their time, what collectors and historians have discovered over the years is that a select few of the 1953 wheat pennies are anything but ordinary. You see, in the world of coin collecting, it's all about the details. Tiny things most people never notice, can make a massive difference in value. The metal content, the mint mark, the strike quality, and especially, minting errors. These factors can transform a 1-cent coin into a high-value treasure. Some 1953 Lincoln Wheat pennies were struck with subtle errors that were never caught by the mint. These include things like double dies, repunched mint marks, and off-center strikes. These variations might look like imperfections, but in the eyes of collectors, they're like fingerprints, unique traits that make the coin special. For example, a double die error can make the text and numbers on a coin look slightly blurred or doubled. It's not just a printing quirk, it's a mistake that occurred when the die stamped the coin more than once, in a slightly off position. If you have a 1953 penny like that, and it's in great condition, you could be looking at something rare and valuable, but there's more. Condition plays a major role. A 1953 penny that's been passed around in change for decades, rubbed smooth and worn down, is worth only a few cents. But one that's been preserved? Kept away from damage, sealed in a collection, or even found in a forgotten roll of uncirculated coins? That's where the value skyrockets. Coins graded by professionals as mint state, especially those rated MS65 or higher, can demand incredible prices. Why? Because there are so few left in that condition. Most people spent their pennies without a second thought. But the ones that survived untouched? They become extremely desirable. Some versions of the 1953D or 1953S penny have been discovered with incredibly crisp details, strong mint luster, and even rare strike errors. These coins are the crown jewels for wheat penny collectors. When they show up at auctions, the bidding can get intense. And if the coin has both rarity and pristine quality? That's when the real surprises happen. And now, I know what you're thinking. How much could one of these little copper coins really be worth? After all, it's just a penny, right? Well, here's the exciting part. One extraordinary 1953 Lincoln Wheat penny, featuring a rare minting error and preserved in stunning condition, has sold at auction for an unbelievable amount, not $500. Not even $10,000. We're talking about a penny that sold for a jaw-dropping total of $83,000. Yes, you heard that right. A single, small, 1-cent piece worth $83,000. So take a closer look at your collection. Check those old penny jars, coin albums, and forgotten family stashes. You never know what you might find. That one little coin you've been ignoring could turn out to be a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. And if you're enjoying videos like this, where we reveal the stories, secrets, and shocking values of rare coins, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future treasure tales. Top 4 where pocket change turns into pure gold, and today's story might just have you running to check your old coin jar. Because today, we're shining a light on one of the most underrated yet potentially life-changing coins in American history, the 1954D Lincoln Wheat penny. Yes, you heard that right. A simple penny, struck in Denver in the mid-1950s, could be worth far more than you'd ever imagine. It might just be sitting unnoticed in your collection or stashed away in an old piggy bank. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why this coin has become such a coveted gem in the numismatic world. Let's rewind for a moment and step back into 1954. The United States was booming with post-war prosperity. Eisenhower was president, Elvis Presley had just recorded his first song, and Americans were falling in love with drive-in movies and diners. The U.S. Mint was busy producing millions of coins to meet the demand of a growing consumer economy, including the classic Lincoln Wheat Penny. The Lincoln Wheat Penny had already been a part of American life for over 4 decades by then. First introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, the design was a major milestone. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person. On one side, you see Lincoln's dignified profile. On the reverse, those iconic wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent and United States of America, symbols of American growth, labor, and resilience. By 1954, the design hadn't changed, but something interesting was happening behind the scenes at the Denver Mint. You see, millions of pennies were produced that year bearing the D Mint mark, and most of them look fairly ordinary. But coin collectors know better than to judge a coin by its face value. Because hiding among those millions are rare variations, tiny minting errors, subtle misstrikes, and coins that somehow escaped into the world in pristine, untouched condition. Some 1954 D Lincoln Wheat pennies were struck using misaligned dies or featured repunched mint marks. That means the small d beneath the date was stamped more than once, creating a slightly shadowed or doubled appearance. These repunched mint mark varieties, often called RPMs, are incredibly popular among collectors, especially when found in sharp detail. Then there are off-center strikes, where the image is printed slightly askew, or coins struck on defective planchets, creating unique shapes or textures. These mistakes are extremely rare and impossible to replicate, making every error coin one of a kind. But let's not forget one of the biggest factors of all: condition. In the world of coin collecting, condition is king. Most 1954 D pennies were used and abused in everyday commerce. They rattled around in pockets, got scraped and scuffed in cash registers, and eventually ended up lost, discarded, or buried in jars, but a few, just a precious few, were preserved. Maybe someone tucked one away in a coin collection as a child. Maybe a mint-sealed roll was forgotten in a drawer for decades. These untouched coins, with their original luster and flawless surfaces, are incredibly rare. The highest grade specimens, those certified as mint state by professional graders, can fetch unbelievable prices at auction, and when you combine perfect condition with a rare minting error, that's when things get truly exciting. Now here's where it gets really fun. Every collector dreams of finding the one, that special coin that seems ordinary at first glance, but turns out to be something extraordinary. A true rarity that no one expected. And that dream became a reality for one lucky collector who discovered a 1954 D Lincoln Wheat penny unlike any other. It was flawless. Razor-sharp details. Deep, original luster. And a repunched mint mark so clear, it practically jumped off the coin. This wasn't just a penny, it was a time capsule from 1954, frozen in perfect condition. After being authenticated and graded by experts, this little copper coin made its way to auction. And when the final bid came in, it shocked the numismatic world, because that humble penny, just 1 cent when it was minted, sold for an eye-watering total of $88,000. That's right. A single penny. Worth $88,000. So if you're wondering whether it's worth digging through your old coins or taking a second look at that dusty collection in your attic, the answer is absolutely. You never know what kind of treasure is hiding in plain sight, and if you're serious about learning more, this channel is the place to be. We break down the mysteries behind valuable coins, show you how to spot rare features, and share stories of incredible discoveries that turn everyday items into priceless artifacts. So hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and tap the notification bell so you never miss a video. There are more secrets waiting to be uncovered, and who knows, your next great find might be just a penny away. Top 5. If you've ever glanced at a penny and thought, it's just 1 cent, today's video might completely change your perspective. Because we're about to uncover the story of a very specific penny that looks plain on the outside, but could secretly be worth a small fortune. This is the tale of the 1950 D Lincoln Wheat penny. At first glance, it might seem like any other old coin from your grandfather's drawer. But don't let its humble appearance fool you, because in the world of coin collecting, this one has a hidden power. A quiet legend. And if you're lucky enough to find the right version of this coin, you could be holding a piece of history worth tens of thousands of dollars. Now, let's rewind to the early 1950s. It's post-World War II America. The country is booming, industries are thriving, and everyday life is shifting into high gear. In 1950, the U.S. Mint in Denver was busy producing Lincoln Wheat pennies, coins that had already become an American classic. These were copper coins, made mostly of pure copper with a hint of zinc. On the front, you had the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln. And on the back? Two simple wheat stalks that framed the words 1 cent and United States of America. It was a design that had been in use since 1909, and to this day, collectors adore its timeless simplicity. But what makes the 1950 penny special? After all, millions were minted that year. Why would anyone pay big money for something that was produced in such large numbers? Well, here's where things get interesting. In coin collecting, it's not always about how many were made, it's about how many survived in pristine condition, with rare traits or minting errors that slipped through unnoticed. And that's exactly what makes the 1950 so fascinating. Some of these pennies were struck with slight misalignments. Some had repunched mint marks, where the small d under the year was accidentally stamped more than once, leaving a shadow-like effect. Others were printed just a bit off-center or showed signs of doubled die strikes, where the lettering or numbers appeared duplicated due to a die striking error. To the average person, these quirks might go unnoticed. But to a trained eye and to passionate collectors, these are golden opportunities. Because when a coin has one of these rare characteristics, and it's found in exceptional condition, its value can shoot through the roof. Let's talk about condition for a second. If your 1950 penny has been through decades of hands, pockets, and cash registers, it's probably worn down and worth only a few cents. But if you happen to have one that looks crisp, with strong details, original luster, and no signs of wear, that's what collectors call mint state. And in the world of numismatics, mint state means money. These rare high-grade coins are the ones that stand out in auctions. Especially when combined with a visible minting error or unique feature, they can be worth far more than anyone would ever guess. Now here's the part that gets really exciting. Imagine a coin that left the Denver Mint in 1950, was somehow never spent, never scratched, never tossed in a drawer. Maybe it was tucked away by someone who sensed it was special. Or maybe it got sealed inside a roll of coins that was never opened. Decades later, that same coin, flawless, gleaming, and paired with a rare repunched mint mark, is discovered and evaluated by experts, and then comes the moment of truth. The auction. The bidding war. And finally, the sale price. That's when jaws drop, because that simple penny, yes, a 1-cent coin from 1950, ends up selling for a jaw-dropping total of $92,000. Let that sink in for a second. That's not a typo. A coin that cost 1 cent to spend back in the day is now worth $92,000. So now the question is, do you have one? Check your coin collections, your old family keepsakes, those rolls of change gathering dust. Look for a 1950 Lincoln Wheat penny with a little d under the date. Examine it closely. If it shines like new, if the details are sharp, if it shows signs of a rare error, you might be holding something truly incredible, and that's why we love doing these videos. Because sometimes, what seems small or ordinary is actually a hidden gem. The next rare penny isn't buried deep in a museum vault, it could be hiding in your home right now. But if you enjoyed this video and want more deep dives into rare coins, hidden treasures, and unbelievable auction stories, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single find. Thanks for watching, and remember, your next fortune might just be 1 cent away.